Before we get into the Charger, let's listen to it with the Fratsonic system either off or set to very low.
So we're in the Scat Pack, right? There's two trims, RT and Scat Pack. RT is the slow one at 496 horsepower. This is the Scat Pack, so it adds a track mode and a drag mode and a custom mode. So each mode, drive mode, has its own level of sound and throaty growl. We like the drag mode because it's the loudest, but they also, each drive have a little enhanced driving dynamics as well. This is 670 horsepower. The 0 to 60 is 3.3 seconds. You ready?
Yep. I don't think I was ready.
Okay. People usually aren't. I usually warn people, hang on to your phones. We did this in Chicago, and we had a longer straightaway. And there were a few times phones went flying. And
oh, gosh.
But,
that felt more serious than the Hellcat did.
Yeah, well, they say this is faster than any of their Hellcats. Now, they plan to do not only a four-door version of this by the end of this year, but also a gas version, both two-door and four-door by about this time next year. So people will have their options, right? I think it makes sense to do an EV muscle car. If muscle cars are about power and athleticism and throaty growls, I think they did this right. But again, people will have their options, you know. But I think they're going to make a gas version of this. They did a really good job. Handles like a dream. You know, most EVs are so heavy, the batteries are heavy that it's just low center of gravity. Really enhances the handling. We customize this ambient lighting to any color, you know, the rainbow as well on any given ride.
Yeah, she showed me that on the Wagoneer.
Yeah. Let's see.
So the Charger does look and feel really impressive. I think that the rumbling that you get from the drag mode really does help, even if it's all artificial. Hold on, here we're about to go. And you can hear that it's not imitating a V8 so much as enhancing the sound that the car naturally has. And it really is a muscle car looking car. And it's quite comfortable inside. But what's kind of funny is that you can see it's got a lot in common with the Wagoneer S, which has a different personality. There were also longer lines for the Charger than any of the other muscle cars. People really had to wait for that, and that was on press days. Here's a caddy swinging around, that's just for comparison. Chargers were really the only cars that you could hear to any large degree on this electric car test track. Now again, a lot of the screeching that you're hearing is not because the cars don't handle well, it's because they're running on concrete, which just makes a lot of squealing. Fun as it is. And there's some variation in how hard the drivers are pushing the cars. I don't think they push the Wagoneer S quite nearly as hard as the Charger. One thing to remember about the Charger is it is a full-size car. It is actually longer than the last one. This one's only 2 doors. It's got a frunk, which is the front trunk. The frunk is actually quite small. We've got a still shot of that. Sorry about the lack of focus in these. I was doing some of them with a 35mm camera. It doesn't focus as well. You will know it when you hear a Charger coming down the street. If you're wondering why I have so much footage of Chargers running down the track, it's because they were pretty much constantly in use. Unlike, say, the Volkswagen that you occasionally see, there was a longer line for the Chargers. There was always somebody waiting, and it seemed like they were always being driven. They weren't resting at all. And it might be that the previous SRT trademark of a car that you can race all day is still in force, even with an electric. Anyway, this is Dave signing out from Motels.